What is up, guys? Eric here, back at it again. About to get into this workshop number 7, I think, for you guys. And what we're going to do here is kind of walk through how I utilize Thinkorswim and, you know, use it to my advantage on a daily basis. It won't be a really in depth review of Thinkorswim and how I use it, but just kind of a general concept so you can understand how I set it up and kind of answer those questions a lot of you guys had about, being able to look at multiple alerts at once and decide which stocks to trade. That's pretty much how I do it. I'll have Thinkorswim pulled up with one screen and have the platform that I'm executing the trade on the other, which is the one that you guys see a lot of times in the group with Webull. Um, I screenshot the results, stuff like that for you. But the way I do it is when I get the alerts and they're coming through, pull up the alert, type it in the chart, wait for my setup, execute. That easy. Right now, just chilling, enjoying some fresh air. It's one of the benefits of being on the top floor. But yeah, so we're gonna get into this little workshop here. Hope you guys are having a good Friday. We're gonna get this kicked off for you to learn. I also put in the learning lounge for you guys 2 books that you need to check out. Um, Good stuff pertaining to the market. Um, just read it. If you got time this weekend, you got a few hours to kill. Try to knock that out. But it's definitely going to help you out. So check out those 2 books that I put in there for you. Great stuff. Great stuff. Other than that, we'll review those trades that I took today. Just under $1,000, which was great. I could have had more had my internet not went out like 3 times while I was within the trade. First trade, I think, was IC. I had posted on the watch list last night. Did what I expected. Boom. Profit. Go home. I was almost going to be done for the day, as you guys saw in the post, but the alert for EEIQ went off, went in, got paid, got out, just chilled the rest of the day, which is what I'm doing now. Just trying to enjoy it before I get back, traveling again. So, yeah, so we'll take a look at the review, take a look at the workshop, review how to set up Thinkorswim to be able to utilize, to your best of your ability. And that's it. Other than that, enjoy the weekend. If you guys have any questions, message me, DM me, whatever you need to do. But keep rocking and rolling. The market's doing what the market does. We're in that time of the year, the cycle. It's not like big runners like it was earlier this year. That's normal. But we still got ample opportunity to make money. A lot of you guys are doing very well in the chat room and everything like that. So kudos to you. Those of you who aren't, hey, keep muscling it through. It's part of the game. You're not going to come in here in 1 month and you know be able to retire. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. You can't just go into the NBA and try to play against LeBron James and Kevin Durant and think you're going to win the championship. That's not how it works. Myself and all these other traders, we do this for a living. Okay, you got to remember that. But over time, practice, and everything, you can be just as good too. Trust me. Um, to each his own, but you gotta sturdy, gotta work hard, gotta practice. That's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get into this workshop and look at the reviews. Have a great weekend. All right, stay green, guys. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this little quick workshop here. This workshop, what we're going to do is see how I pretty much utilize Thinkorswim platform every day throughout my trading day. So you can get a glimpse of how I'm utilizing this bad boy. Because a lot of you guys ask me, platforms that I'm using, how am I able to see multiple charts at once and all that good stuff? Do I have to have like 50 different monitors, whatever? No, you don't. This will pretty much answer that. How I'm able to see like multiple stocks at once and wait for which stock to do the setup that I want to do. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through on how I set this up. This is not going to be an in-depth detail analysis of TD Ameritrade. That's going to be in the course for you guys to kind of utilize that some more. Um, but this platform is very, very important. You guys in the course know why, but I'm not going to cover all that here in this, in this little video. This is just going to show you how to set everything up, okay? That I'm using, because all the other stuff, all other bells and whistles that we utilize is still in here, but it won't be in this review, okay? So this is just a quick workshop. So pretty much this is Thinkorswim. Once you download the platform, it's completely free, guys. You want to get the platform. And once you download it, you should see something like this. So you'll have pretty much all this in your beginning, downloaded section there. You want to make sure that when you have it downloaded too, that you make sure it's connected in real-time data, that you have real-time data turned on, okay?
because it's going to come default lag. But see this right here? That's the real-time data. All right. So you're going to make sure you have that turned on. If you don't know how to do it, just Google how to turn on real-time data with Thinkorswim. There's a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do it. If you have any issues, I think you go like in the back end and change it in your TD Ameritrade account. And all this setup is free here. If you have any issues, you can always call the customer service because their customer service is great too. I can't knock them for that. Those guys help out a lot. They're pretty good. So yeah, so that's pretty much how you want to do that. Make sure your real-time data is turned on, or else your charts will lag when you look at them. All right. So once you're in this section here, you're going to see these right here: monitor, trade, analyze, scan, market watch, charts, tools, education, help, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, they have a lot of good education in here too, guys. Free education, so it's good to dabble on that too when you have time. Then you got all this right here. You don't need to worry about this. I keep mine right here. Sometimes I might add Trader TV. You do that by like clicking this plus button, and you can add different things in here. Like when I want to watch like CNBC or something like that, I might have that on there as well too, and you can adjust these things to however you want. I mean, you can really customize this like crazy, guys. I mean, Thinkorswim is a great platform. Honestly, I don't trade in it much anymore. Um, Obviously, there's no funds in this thing. I don't really, utilize it like that. But when I did used to use it back in my day, starting out, it was a great platform. Um, I still, would rotate into it every now and then because you guys know I jump from platform to platform. Just a thing that I do. But you don't have to. If you want to use Thinkorswim as your all-in-one broker, I mean, the tools they have here is amazing. If I was starting out with any broker, honestly, it wouldn't be Webull, it wouldn't be Moomoo, it wouldn't be Interactive Brokers, it wouldn't be CMG, it would be Thinkorswim. Because you learn so much from this platform. It's very customizable, has a lot of great tools. Again, I just like the interface of some of the other brokers. That's why I use them. And plus, it's much more easier for me to just utilize this, what I utilize it for, not get confused with things and make a mistake and hit a key and do something else. So that's why I use Thinkorswim mainly to start scouting out the stocks that I might want to make a play in, waiting for my setup. And I use other brokers like Webull or Moomoo or anything like that to actually execute my trade, which is what I showed you guys in the last workshop. Okay, so I usually have two screens set up: this one and then the other one with the one that I'm executing, the platform that I'm executing on. Okay, pretty simple. All right, so let's get into how I set this up. First thing you're going to do is want to go to charts. Again, I only use Thinkorswim to look at charts to find stocks once they are alerted to me through the alert system that we all are in. Okay. So once an alert goes off in the in the group, like once an alert goes off, I'll pull up the stock here. Like let's say, DDS or something like that went off. I'm going to pull it up here and look at the chart. All right. That's pretty much what I do. And I'll wait for the setup. If I see something I like, I start to plan it out. Now, a lot of you guys ask, well, there's multiple alerts going on. How do you know which stock to pick? Blah, blah, blah. Again, look for the setup in the trade that you want to do. And the way you're able to see multiple charts at once is by utilizing Thinkorswim. You could do this with other brokers. Like I showed you guys in the last workshop, you can pull up, different charts within the same screen with, you can have like 3 or 4 different charts. Again, I don't like the way it looks on other platforms. I just like the way it is on Thinkorswim. So that's why I utilize it for this. So this is how you do it. I'll walk you guys through on how I used to actually have my platform when I was with Thinkorswim, just trading through it. I'll show you guys how to do that, and then I'll show you what I use it for now, okay? But anyways, you're going to go into charts. And for those of you who are like in the course, whatever, I give you all like the scanner settings and stuff like that I used to use as well too. I don't use a scanner anymore on Thinkorswim. Doesn't make sense. But it's very handy as well too. But the way I trade with momentum trades, it's much easier to have things set up the way I set it up. But anyways, click on charts, right? So you're gonna pay attention to that section, and then what you're gonna do, you see this on the side here, this is what you're gonna be paying attention to. So you click on charts. If nothing shows up, just click this right here and it'll pull up the chart for you. That's Dillard's. We don't want to look at Dillard's. Let's just look at, maybe something's moving after hours. I don't think there's nothing moving after hours because it's Friday. But yeah, so this is pretty much it. Now you want to pay attention to up here because this is where a lot of your settings is for your charts. And I said we're going to pay attention to this stuff on here. This is just for you to see how I used to trade my stuff. Once you get your chart set up the way I'm going to show you, you won't really need to worry about any of this. I'll show you which ones you will need to. But I just want to kind of give you a glimpse of, the chart, how it looks, where you can go make your settings and stuff like that for your chart. You could change the different time frames to however you want. It's very, very customizable, guys. Get familiar with your brokers. Like I said in the last video, get familiar with utilizing your platform. Okay, it's very important that you do so. Um, so you'll see here you have the moving average convergence divergence, the RSI. This stuff is kind of already pre-populated because that's how I like my platform to be. Um, you can do all that by changing the style and stuff like that you want, the studies that you want. All that stuff is in here. You can look it up by alphabetical order by the name of the study, or however you want to do it. You pretty much will click on studies and make the changes there to wherever you want. I know some people like ask me about, hey, how do you get those arrows? What kind of algorithm you're doing for that? That, guys, is in the course. I'm not going to break that down because it's a whole programming step you got to do to input those arrows that kind of show this, basically like super trend for thinkorswim. Yes, it's possible. There's no specific indicator there for it, but it is possible. You just got to program it. And actually, in the course, I walk you through on how to actually get that put into your thinkorswim. So I'm not going to go through all that in this video either. Anyways, so yeah, this is pretty much how the chart looks for the most part. You can set it up for that if you want. And then the way I used to have it, I used to have like level 2 there. I used to have the trade settings there. Well, I used to have the active trader as well too. I never really used anything like the news or like live news. I don't want that on there. It's too much. I had it right here, so there's no point. Active trader was pretty good because I wanted to look at that, and time and sales was pretty good as well too that I utilized. This is normally back in the day when I used to trade on 2D. This is how my platform used to look. Got the buy and sell order buttons here. Got the exchanges and everything here with orders coming through. That's like level 1. The rest of the stuff here, level 2, and the time and sales tape is very important because you want to learn how to read that, especially if you're a momentum trader. But this is how my setup specifically used to look, okay? But this is not how I use it every day on a daily basis. Now that I've branched over to different platforms, let me show you what I utilize TD for now. Okay. See this right here in the corner, this little square box? You want to do that. This, guys, is how I'm utilizing thinkorswim every day to look at multiple stocks that are being alerted. Because sometimes you might get 1, 2, 3, or 4 stocks alerted within a few minutes, and you want to look at things like see how the chart's moving, see what it's doing, and things like that. So let me take a step back. You see how this changed? You got to understand that your screen size matters. When you're looking at maybe like a lot of commercials like that, you see traders, having like 5, 6 different screens. They're basically doing this. So the thing is that what shows on your charts will be adjusted to how many pixels of the size that your screen is. So obviously, the bigger screen, the better. You can look at more things. I didn't realize that until I ended up getting like multiple monitors, and some of them were different sizes, and I'm like, oh man, I can't see on here what I can see on the other one because the size is different, so it's adjusting accordingly. So make sure you're getting a good screen size for you to be able to fit what you want to fit, in there. If not, you're gonna have to just shorten it or whatever to something else, because you can see how I only have 4 screens. Now you can see like my time and sales tape, you can see my level 2, you can see my buttons. But if I wanted to watch like 9 stocks at once or 12 stocks at once, all that gets either smaller to where you can barely see the chart, or it just disappears, period, and you can't see any of it. That's because your screen isn't big enough to fit all that in there. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But again, on average, me personally, I have about 9 of those stocks showed up at once. I'm not going to look at too many of them when they're alerted. I'm just going to pull up the ones that kind of interest me, that might fit my price range, et cetera, et cetera. And when I have my charts pulled up, guys, I get rid of like this. I don't need time and sales. I don't need hot buttons because I'm not trading in here. I don't really need level 2. You can have that on there if you want. All I really need, honestly, is just the chart. I don't need anything else. Everything else is just extra because, as you can see, like in my Weibo platform or any of my other ones, I pretty much have all that already built into that charting platform there. So I'll look at the chart and thinkorswim just for my setups, like here how this is like flagging. I might be using this. I'm going to use this to look at stuff like that. I'm not going to use it to look at level 2 or time and sales tape, although you can if you want to. I'm just showing you what I do. I don't really need it to look at the moving average convergence divergence or RSI. You could if you want to, but I don't. I usually have 9 of these bad boys pulled up. If my screen was bigger, then I wouldn't mind having the RSI and stuff like that on there. I think a good size monitor to get, because I know a lot of people ask me, I would say probably is like at least maybe 24 inches. This one right here, I have. This is on my desktop where I'm recording this video. This one's only like 22 or something like that. It's very small. But I think if you're trading with two desktops, a good size to have would be something like that or higher if you can. The more the better, because you can see more stuff. But it's not like make or break all. It just kind of maybe like looks better or is easier on your eyes. So usually I have none of these bad boys pulled up, and let's just start typing in stocks here. I'm just gonna start listing some stuff. See if anything pulls up. I know it's like after hours, so probably because it's after hours, nothing is really gonna show up there. But if it did, that'd be great. But probably not. Anyways, so that's pretty much what you do. So once you have that pulled up, let's say an alert comes up, like it goes HEPA, had news. I'm gonna pull it up here and wait for the stock to load up. You know what? My internet's down. Perfect. As I'm shooting this video, that's why this thing is not loading. Remember, I was telling you guys the other day how my internet kept going in and out. This is a prime example. So yeah, of course, when your internet goes out, you won't be able to see your charts load up and reload. I think it's restarting right now for some reason. I don't know. This thing's been going off all day. Hopefully, they give me a new freaking box soon. But anyways, we'll wait and see if the chart pulls up. But once it does pull up, you'll type in the stock for each one of those. Like, oh, the alert goes off HEPA. Okay, pulls up. Okay, I'm looking at it and I'm waiting. Again, some stocks will shoot up and go right back down. Obviously, I'm going to move on if it's not doing anything that I think is interesting. Same thing for any other stocks as they come out throughout the day. Like let's say if CR or CYRN popped up. I don't think it's still up yet, but let's say if it did, then at that point, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, let's look at the stock for a few minutes. After a few minutes, if it's not shaping up, I'm just gonna move on to something else. So you don't need to live in these stocks. That's just how that pretty much works, guys. So understand that. That's the way I use Thinkorswim. All this, look at that, internet came back up. All this on one screen, and then you know Webull or any other broker that I'm using to execute trades on any other. I'm just gonna pull up random stocks. Then I'm gonna show you how I have it like set up here. I'm just going off of like what might be, just typing in crazy stuff. Some of my favorites. Some of my favorites. Let me do that there. Okay. So more than likely your stuff won't be default. What you got to do is change each one of these charts. You're gonna have to change the settings. Like how this one's on 1 minute. Let's say I wanted to do 1 minute on all of them because I trade by the 1 minute time frame. You guys know me, in and out, go about my day. You got to change it in every single one of them. Same thing goes for like your studies. Like, oh, how come this one has the VWAP and this one doesn't, or this one doesn't? You're gonna have to go into your studies, find your studies, and put them in there. Okay. Unfortunately, that takes a little bit of time to do, but you got to do it. You got to do it. Boom, now it's in there. And any other studies you want. But yeah, pretty much replicate that throughout each chart. And then usually once you kind of log off and save it, it'll stay that way. You have to keep inputting it in. But if you go to a different desktop or something like that, you're gonna have to do all that stuff again, guys. But that's just kind of walking you through that, and how I pretty much have my chart set up with Thinkorswim. So throughout the daily basis, I load up Webull or whatever broker I'm using, and I load up Thinkorswim. I pull it up, sit there, I chill out, I wait for an alert to come through. Alert comes through, boom, I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna wait for it to do something I think it's gonna do. Like, oh, CR. And if an alert comes through, right, and it's another alert, I'm gonna try to pick out which stock I think is the best. Like if I know, like, look, if this isn't doing anything, clearly there's no volume there. There's no action. Bars are choppy. Nothing's going on here. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to something else. That's been alerted. Yeah, now we got some action here. This looks pretty good. I'm just kind of using it as an example. I'm not really saying that. I'm just kind of using this as an example. But that's pretty much how I do it throughout the day, guys. And once I say, oh, this looks good, it's doing a cup and handle, is doing something I'm expecting it to do. I'm jumping into my Weibo platform. I'm looking at like time and sales and everything, and I'm plotting my entries and exits and execute the trade. Decide if I'm going to stay in it. I'll look at it for a while. I'm done. I'm done looking at it here on Thinkorswim. Other alerts might come through while I'm in the trade. That's fine. I'll pull them up and you know wait for it to set up somehow and do something that I want to see. But until then, if I'm in a trade, it's just going to sit here on the back burner. And once again, my internet went out. Man, this is a joke. But anyways, guys, that's it. That's just a quick little workshop here of how I utilize Thinkorswim, how to set it up. Again, for some of you that are new, get this broker. Again, it's free, or get this platform. It's free. And play with this thing. You guys are in the course. Utilize the other tools and resources that are in here that I'll tell you is good to use on a daily basis with it. Because especially, at least the other three that I talked about, I mean, those things are like a make or breaker for me when it comes to trading. I don't know any, even the trading gurus be like, yeah, we use those too. I mean, everyone uses it, but make sure you guys are utilizing all the tools that you can that'll help you out. But this is how I use Thinkorswim, guys. Nothing else, nothing fancy. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Again, the more in-depth detail review is, how to set up and all in there for you in the courses and whatnot. But until then, guys, utilize it like this. Practice, practice, practice. Learn, learn, learn. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll move on to the next video. All right. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into these trade reviews here. Pretty much 2 trades taken today. IC, which was ISEE, and EEIQ. Pretty simple trades, straightforward. It's Friday. Kind of get means, I'm not going to trade too much on a Friday, but opportunity presents itself. I'll take it. So let's jump into these and look at what we had here. So let's start with ICC or IC. ISEE, boom, there it is. Now, first and foremost, why did I choose this one? Well, pretty much because it was on the watch list the night before. See, watch list, Monday, 9/10, which is today. This was put out the day before. I said, hey, like the movement here after hours, there was no problem. The only problem was that there was no news. So I was going to be extra cautious in this play. And you can see where I was extra cautious in this play when I review it here with you guys. All right. But, I said if a catalyst comes, it'll be a great opportunity to jump on. Ended at 12:39. Was pretty much how it ended after hours. So that's pretty much why I was looking at that one as opposed to anything else. Okay. So let me move that out the way. Now let's take a look at how this bad boy did. Let me zoom this in a little bit. Because this thing was all over the place. So this was after hours. This is the normal trading hours, and this is pre-market. My trade I made was pre-market. You guys seen the post on Facebook where I had put like, hey, I'm done for the day. Quick $400. I was gonna call it a night, but the second trade came. So it's pretty much an early day, early Friday, which is pretty cool. But let's take a look at this bad boy here. I think if I recall it correctly, I had got into this thing. My average here was about 1368 and got out around like 1450. So a good little dollar move, um, for a little over $400 profit. And it was made during pre-market. So pretty much the way this kind of broke down, and let me make sure this chart can look accurate. So that's another thing, guys. When you're doing your chart, this is I know I was talking about charting in the last video here in the workshop video, but a good thing about your charts too, you got to remember that it looks like it's like not much movement, but it really is. You want to make sure you're expanding and shortening your charts that fits the way you trade. Like if you're trading with like a $1 to $2 risk to reward ratio, you might want to make it a little bit larger, or vice versa, make it smaller if you're trading differently. Enough so you can kind of be able to read the chart and see if there's any setups. Okay, like obviously, if I was to make this too small, how can you see a setup? Everything looks flat because it's trading within a high range. It's trading from like $1, $1 to $2. But if you zoom in some, because I'm trading with a larger share than probably most of you, that means I can have 30, 40 cents moves and make a substantial profit versus if you only trading with like, a smaller amount of shares, you're going to need probably a bigger move to make a larger profit. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, large shares, small movements, you can zoom in, and the opposite for the other. Smaller shares, you need larger movements, zoom out some more. Okay. But let's get back to where we're at. All right. So this right here, sorry, this right here is after hours previous day. I said I liked the way it ended the previous day. Spiked up, came down, held up, came down. So that's some good action. It was a good volume there. Carried over into pre-market here, and the alert pretty much went off that it was catching some movement. And level two just kind of was a dead giveaway at this point for this stock here, and that was why I had jumped into it. Like I said, let me zoom in. I had got in at like 1860. I'm sorry, 18. I got in at like 1360. Okay, like right in this area, and I got it like 1450. So during pre-market, again, you can see level two action, and it moves a lot slower than it does throughout the day, because obviously not much brokers are open and not many people are executing trades. So I'm able to kind of cherry pick where I can get in and get out by looking at level two and deciding my risk to reward ratio. Here was pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Couple, like I said, 500 shares in, right around that area, and right before start to tank a little bit, I had got out pretty much at like 450. So it was 1450. So it was pretty good. It was almost at the top at this point, but that was a quick trade, not even a few minutes. Um, and then, obviously, if you would have held it, you probably could have got some more. I didn't want to get too greedy because it's Friday. You guys know me, I'm very cautious. And then it kind of just stayed a little flat within like a little bit of a range throughout the day. So pretty much I made my little, chump change, got in, got out, and was done with that. So that one was a quick, easy trade. There was no setup I had to wait for because if you look during that time, um, my strategy on this one was to just, again, to get in, to get out. So this was going to be a quick ride the wave strategy, which means I wasn't going to hold it for too long. The moving average, convergence divergence didn't even, change but for so long. Typically, when it flips that quickly, especially with staying in the same relative strength index, it's not much going to change from that. So kind of knowing that from seeing it all these years, I knew to kind of get in when I was in my 1350, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. A few minutes later, pops up. Okay, that's it. Order started coming in for sell. I said, okay, I'm good. Take my money and leave. So that was pretty much IC. So that was kind of a easy one there, just because of that. So let's take a look at the next one, EEIQ. I know a couple of you guys had questions about this in the chat room, and some of you messaged me about it as well too. So I'm gonna spend a few more minutes on this one than I probably did on ICE. So this one was a quick one too. Took like a few minutes to get this trade executed. I actually lost some money on this one because why, guys? Freaking internet went out while I was in this trade. I was up like 700 bucks, ready to cash out. Internet went out. By the time I got it back open, I was at like 570. Crazy. One little internet outage cost me 200 bucks. So this is why I tell you guys, especially when I went over things in the course of what can go wrong in trading, this is exactly one of them. One of the many that I was talking about. So you gotta be prepared with that. Had I maybe set like a stop loss or something, a hard stop loss, then I probably would have saved myself. But unfortunately, I didn't because I'm usually trading mentally. I'm not used to internet just cutting off on me, but it happened. It happened. So yeah, so let's kind of talk about this trade. This one was alerted, and then it was halted. So that kind of gave me, you know, my first quick glance at it, and then I started looking at level two, and it looked pretty good. Let me pull that back up. Sorry about that. It always does that. Freaking Telegram. So yeah, so it was halted at like 708 right out the gate. Came down, halted at 708. That's when it caught my eye, and I jumped in. Um, so the reason why I jumped in the halt, you guys, I mean, you've seen pretty much a lot of my reviews about halts and what to look for in level two to decide if you're going to get them and how risky they are. I got in this trade at an average of like 593. So I got in a little bit later after that halt, like right up at the top of the halt. But it's okay because it wasn't too far off the volume weighted average price and the exponential moving average that I was worried about it. And also, the level two looked good. And knowing this stock, is another thing that helped me decide to get into it. So what you got to realize is that the longer you're in the market, the more you get familiar with these stocks and how they work. I know we were talking about that a little bit as well too. Michael had mentioned it as well. That it's called pattern day trading for a reason, guys. A lot of these stocks will do the same patterns over and over and over. We know this, Chinese stock here is typically pumped and dumped. That's why we don't fall in love with these stocks. You get in, you get out, get your money, and go about your day. Pretty easy. So with this one, like I said, got in after the halt, got in at 590 in this area, and let the moving average convergence divergence turn. It was still showing some good strength. I'm like, okay, price action's looking good. I'll keep holding. Then it started going up more and more, and I said it in the chat room. I was like, man, I can't wait for this thing to pop. And eventually, yeah, it did pop, but unfortunately, I wasn't in it. Where were we talking about it? It was like earlier, because it was early in the morning. I mean, you guys had me cracking up in the chat room, but yeah, it was like early in the morning. I don't even know if I see it where I said it, but yeah, we were talking about it. Try not to be chatting too much when I'm in trade. Oh well. Anyways, it's in there, guys. Go back and look. But anyways, we're talking about it, and pretty much it was riding and grinding and grinding and grinding. I wanted to get out in this area, but I couldn't because what happened? Internet went out, stock went down, it came back up. By the time I got back in, it came up again. I'm like, crap. And by the time, you know, it was working, I was already pretty much, in like the $7 range. So I said, hey, I don't want to push my luck. Got in at 590 when I get out at like 709. And so I did. Got out right down here. Didn't know the top where I wanted to, but still profit. Green is green, right? Especially on this day. And then look at this. It just grinded for a little bit, dropped, tried to come back up, and dropped. And I'm pretty sure, guess what? It's gonna drop again, um, come Monday. So that's just how these stocks are. Know when to get in, know when to get out, know your risk, know your reward, all the above, guys. Okay? Pretty simple trade, aside from the technical difficulties. Luckily, I survived. Um, that's pretty much it. All right. So let you guys review this stuff. If you have any questions, message me, email me, let me know. But until then, stay green.